There's a 32-day period in which you suddenly have another description about your views of women in the military. And I just want to know, what changed in the 32 days that the song you sang is not the song you come in here today to sing?
Senator, the concerns I have and the concerns that many have had, especially in ground combat units, is that in pursuit of certain percentages or quotas, standards have been changed. And that makes the combat more difficult
for everybody involved. Let me make a suggestion about what happened in that 32 days.
We are watching today how Pete Hegseth is defending himself against Elizabeth Warren about the topic of women in combat, the women in the military, and she's trying to cancel him, basically get him to not be nominated at all at the end of the Pentagon. Let's watch.
And Mr. Hegseth, thank you. Thank you for your service. So if you're confirmed as Secretary of Defense, you will oversee our military, including about 250,000 women who currently serve on active duty in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Space Forces, and the Marines. And I have serious concerns that your behavior toward women disqualifies you from serving in this role. Now, I've been trying to get answers from you for quite some time on this. You haven't wanted to meet or to answer any of my questions, so we'll just have to do it here and dive in. I want to pick up on some of the questions asked by Senators Shaheen and Gillibrand and Hirono, and I just want to make sure we have a list of some of the facts that I think are undisputed. I'm not going to talk about anonymous sources. I'm just going to quote you directly. We've got the video. We've got it in print. So going back to January 2013, you told a Fox News interviewer that women in the military simply couldn't measure up to men in the military, saying that allowing women to serve in
I think that's kind of unfair to go that far back, honestly. People are allowed to have a change of opinion. You don't have to think the same thing over and over for the entire course of your life. You can change and you can have new idea, new opinion over time, and that's totally fine.
Combat roles would force the military to lower the bar. You picked up on that same theme in 2015, making remarks on Fox News, referring to women in combat as, quote, it would erode standards. June 2024, you said on Ben Shapiro's podcast, quote, women shouldn't be in combat at all. And then, of course, we've talked about it in 2024. You published a book. And you say on page 26 of your book, we need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units. Page 48 of your book, you claim that women should not be in combat roles because men are distracted by women. And then 10 weeks ago, you appeared on the Sean Ryan show and said, I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. Now, I presume you recall making all these statements?
Senator, I'm not familiar with the article you're pointing to in 2013, but it underscores my argument completely, because in that 2013 argument, I was talking about standards.
No,
standards are what it's always been about,
let's not
Senator.
have this same fight again.
Always been about Senate standards.
I think it's great to bring the argument back to the standards. You have to have high standards in the military, and it's not fair to lower the standards for anybody, honestly, men or women.
You directly, we've got the video, we're happy to show it. But I want to be clear here. For 12 years, you were quite open about your views, and your views were consistently the same. Women are inferior soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and guardians. And in case anyone missed the point, and these are your words from 10 weeks ago, women absolutely straight up should not be permitted to serve in combat. And I notice on each of these quotes, those are said without qualification. It's not by how much you can lift or how fast you can run. They don't belong in combat, period, or your words, straight up.
I think we can all agree that men are, in general, stronger and faster than women, and that's why they don't compete in the same league in sport, and that's why women and men should not have the same role in the military either.
And then, on November 9th, 2024, just 32 days after your last public comment saying that women absolutely should not be in combat, you declared that, quote, some of our greatest warriors are women. and you support having them serve in combat. Now, that is a very, very big about face in a very, very short period of time. So help me understand, Mr. Hegseth, what extraordinary event happened in that 32-day period that made you change the core values you had expressed for the preceding 12 years?
Senator, again, I very much appreciate you bringing up my comments from 2013 because for me, this issue has always been about standards. And unfortunately, because of some of the people that have been in political power for the last 4 years, priorities other than
Elizabeth Warren is funny. She just come here with an agenda. She has already made up her mind about this and what she wants Pete Hegseth to say. She doesn't care about his answer at all and just want to push her views upon everybody else.
Standards,
right there.
lethality, and meritocracy
Mr. Hegseth,
have driven decision-making.
I'm quoting you from the podcast. Women shouldn't be in combat at all. Where is the reference to standards? That they should be there if they can carry, if they can run. I don't see that at all, Mr. Hegseth. What I see is that there's a 32-day period in which you suddenly have another description about your views of women in the military. And I just want to know, what changed in the 32 days that the song you sang is not the song you come in here today to sing?
Senator, the concerns.
Honestly, I think women should be protected at all costs. If they want to fight, that's fine. But first of all, they have to meet the standards. They have to be as strong and as fast as other men. And they also have to prove that they are very much capable in stressful, dangerous situations and that they will not flee in the face of enemies, of adversities, which is very, very hard to do. And of course, I also believe that women are much more valuable than men. That's why men should protect women and children and should come first when it comes to combat and facing adversaries and being the first to die on the front line.
I have and the concerns that many have had, especially in ground combat units, is that in pursuit of certain percentages or quotas, standards have been changed. And that makes the combat more difficult
let me make a
for everybody
suggestion
involved.
about what happened in that 32 days. You got a nomination from President Trump. Now, I've heard of deathbed conversions, but this is the first time I've heard of a nomination conversion. And I hope you understand that many women serving in the military right now might think that if you can convert so rapidly your long-held and aggressively pursued views in just 32 days, that 32 days after you get confirmed, maybe you'll just reverse those views and go back to the old guy who said straight up, women do not belong in combat.
This is what a modern feminist looks like. We can all agree that women in the large majority do not want to be in combat and face difficult situations and potentially lose their lives. Nobody wants to do that kind of job, basically, especially women. There are many, many different roles in society and in the military that men and women like to do and avoid doing. And that's always been like this. We are not the same. Men and women are not the same. We are totally different, but complementary, and we need each other for many, many different things. There are many things that women are much better than men, and there are many things that men are better than women. And that's always been like this, and it's gonna stay like this for the foreseeable future. And it's totally wrong to believe that men and women should be doing the same thing, assume the same role everywhere. This is pure insanity.
Now, Mr. Hegseth, you have written that after they retire, generals should be banned from working for the defense industry for 10 years. You and I agree. on the corrosive effects of the revolving door between the Pentagon and defense contractors. It's something I would have liked to talk to you about if you'd come and been willing to visit with me. But the question I have for you on this is, will you put your money where your mouth is and agree that when you leave this job, you will not work for the defense industry for 10 years?
Senator, it's not even a question I've thought about because
You can
it's
think
not
about it
one
right
that,
now.
It's not one, my motivation for this job
I understand
has never
that. I
been
just
about
need
what
a
could
yes or no
conceivably
here.
come next.
Time is short. I just need a yes or no.
I would consult with the president about what the policy should be
In
at the Defense
other
Department.
words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. You're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one, let us just be clear, in charge of the generals. So you're saying sauce for the goose, but certainly not sauce for the gander?
I would want
As you can see, everybody is laughing at her, and that's exactly how you lose an argument. She's doing pretty much a terrible job there in the end. She comes here with her own agenda and wants to push her views on the world, basically defending things that nobody cares about. Honestly, thanks for watching and staying with me. I hope you appreciate this video, and click right there to watch the next one, and I will see you there. Bye bye.